We've seen the latest GDP numbers, $420 billion. Obviously, I mean, our standing hasn't shifted that much, especially with our African peers. We're still the fourth largest economy in Africa. But the government is looking to boost our GDP even further with a 30% value addition export bill. We're getting into that now with Baba Yusuf, who has provided some perspective already on the conversation, and thank you for staying with us. Before the break, you highlighted issues around the standard of the produce. Even if you're going to bring that value addition, what is the standard of that produce? How competitive will it be in the market? So, I mean, let us more into that and what needs to be done either from the side of, manufacturing, production, regulators. What can we do to work and improve, the standards such that whatever goods are being whatever value is being added to the goods, it makes it standard and competitive in the market?
The bill, I don't want to preempt the bill, but we are just making contributions, and I think that is the essence of putting this forward for national discourse. I will expect that they will distill the quote-unquote 30% value addition within the framework of that bill to say, for example, like I was saying, what are the standards? What makes up 30%? What is the 30% value addition? In what terms? For example, in terms of the products, if we can take, for example, agri-products, perishables, vegetables, fruits, dry crops, what are the standards for that 30% value addition? Because value addition, I believe, should also encompass storage, should also encompass the logistics and supply chain infrastructure, facilities, and systems, because value addition will become useless if, for example, in the case of agri-products, by the time you move the item, having added the value, taking it to either the seaport or airport to fly out to the global market, it has already degraded in a way and therefore will not be competitive or will not even be something you can sell in the market. So I hope there will be clear definitions and boundaries setting with regards to this value addition. And while we are at it, Joanna, what is crucial for us as a country is that we should I always try to remind, our leaders with profound respect that I hope all these policies we are churning out are keen into an overarching strategy with regards to our national development plan, with our national industrial plan, for example, so that there will be policy coordination and policy coherence, so that this bill will not come and will be in conflict with other possibly bills or policies that are already in place. The issue of infrastructure is very crucial to the achievement of this very laudable bill. The issue of logistics and value chain in terms of our intermodal transportation, the issue of storage in the terms of agri-value chain, for example, are very key to the success of value addition. And in fact, I hope these are all going to be, considered in context with regards to this particular bill and any other bill for that matter. The Food and Agriculture Organization, of the United Nations has said it clearly that over 50% of the agricultural products we produce in Nigeria get wasted from the farmland, possibly to the dining table or even to the market. And this is very crucial with regards to the economic diversification strategy, which is key to achieving those GDP numbers we are talking about, or achieving the $1 trillion economy target of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I hope the foundation laying and the pillar setting will key into an overarching strategy so that we are moving lockstep in one direction, to achieve this objective. But I must say it's a laudable project. These are some of the contributions we'll continue to add in this bill as it is evolving into legislation and subsequently most likely to be signed into law. We want a robust bill that will capture these foundations so that it will be successful.
So you're calling for coherence there with these policies and reforms that are kind of reminds me of a question that was asked recently. What is Nigeria's trade policy? What is our trade policy? What is driving all our strategies? But let's stick with the topic right now. And with this move, we're hoping to, the federal government is hoping to achieve a 17% year-on-year growth in real GDP through this new policy. How realistic would you say that is?
Well, target setting in strategy, Joanna, depends on how you want to go. Do you want to go audacious so that you put everybody on his foot to deliver? Or do you want to go a bit conservative, in which case people may not be on their toes to deliver? I agree with the school of thought that the way we are going, we are lagging behind. You mentioned the numbers, with regards to Nigeria, in the scheme of the African continent. And therefore, the audacious target is okay, given our national, corporate or public sector culture, that if we don't push people, we may still be lagging behind. I believe this is achievable if we do the right things at the right time and have the right people doing them. And I think it's a laudable one. We should proceed with that. We shouldn't just look at the numbers, but look at how achievable they will be vis-a-vis, like I said, what is our strategy? What are the policy consultations that will be going on now? Are we considering it holistically, or are we doing them sector by sector? And even when we are doing this sector by sector, there should be policy consultation so that at the end of the day, we are well coordinated to achieve the desirable objective. What is the desirable objective? Economic development, economic growth. But before we achieve that, we must be able to recover the economy. We still haven't recovered the economy. And for us, like we say in Global Investment and Trade Company, GITC, our slogan is optimizing value chain. If you don't optimize, you cannot recover and just succeed. But more importantly, it will not be sustainable. And sustainability is key.
Recover, succeed, and sustain. But sticking
Absolutely.
with the idea of feasibility, how realistic this whole bill is, we know that, yes, we're looking to add value across both oil and non-oil sectors. Do we have the infrastructure, right, that it takes to execute, on scale? And what infrastructure gaps do need to be filled for us to really see this bill yield the desired results?
Our opening remarks, I quickly flagged out this infrastructure issue because the value addition in itself cannot be achieved without infrastructure. Number one, we have critical infrastructure deficit in terms of power. We are way, way, way behind our power, requirements, even for domestic use, talkless of, driving our productive sector. I'm very happy we have a law that has enabled states and subnationals to build and produce, generate, transmit and distribute their own power. I want to see value innovation by the state governors to be able to do that so that they can be able to support the center. But it's very key. Without power, all these discussions will amount to naught. So I want to see decisiveness by the federal and state government in result-oriented moves to ensure that we have power in the short to mid-term, even if it is in a modular fashion. What I mean is, between now and the end of Q2 next year, what kind of power are we going to be able to generate, distribute, transmit and distribute to people and the sectors to be able to do the value addition, to be able to manufacture whatever they want to manufacture. And of course, the critical infrastructure with regards to intermodal transportation, logistics and supply chain is a critical success factor to any economic.
All right, he seems to have tripped there briefly. Hopefully we're able to get him back on this conversation. Again, the federal government is seeking to boost GDP with 30% value addition exports. Mr. Yusuf, are you back? Can we pick up from where we left off?
Yes, please. I was saying that the intermodal transportation, the logistics and value chain are very crucial to the success of the value addition. When you finish producing, we have the power. You need to know how you move these items from production location to the market, whether domestic or international market. So they are very crucial. And then, of course, standards. The roads we build, the infrastructures we build are the standard at that level that we are able to sustain the economy. We don't want roads that will degrade after 5 years and you still have to plow back and the impacts on the supply chain will be, impacting. So these are all things that need to be taken into cognizance with regards to this value addition. However, like I said, this is time to key into all those things in considering this. But already, there are already processes with regards to power, with regards to the intermodal transportation. We see what is going on in the country, but it's very important for us to have that interlink so that at the end of the day, we're able to succeed timely and in a coordinated manner, because I think that is the objective. We have a target of another 2 years to 2027 election. What will we be able to achieve? If we modularize that, we can be able to say we're able to achieve this much before 2027, rather than being too audacious And by 2027, we've not gotten anywhere.
Coordination, coherence, that seems to be something you keep reiterating through this conversation. Let's now come, obviously, the manufacturers will have a key role to play in all of this to meet the local processing requirements. Are there incentives and supports that you feel need to be in place to enable and empower them to execute, at that level?
Of course, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is a very active, very proactive and pragmatic association. I must say, I commend them. They are always out there. They are always speaking truth to power and also constructively engaging and adding value. They've been crying for decades with regards to the degradation of that sector, which is the critical, crucial fulcrum of recovering the economy and driving it. An incentive, of course, is very important, especially when we look at the cost of production, very high cost of living, very high cost of doing business, very high. The global socio-economic indices are not helping matters. Government will continue to be creative by providing those incentives, either with the view of bringing in the implements, to set up this, value addition centers, or even the productive sectors, whatever you are manufacturing. But let us not also forget, apart from the big players in the manufacturing sector, very crucial, Joanna, are the small and medium-scale enterprises that are doing a lot of stuff, around our value chain. They need those incentives as well. I know there are Bank of Industry is providing that intervention. I believe Bank of Agriculture is going to be doing a lot in the next, couple of months. But we need to see more robustness with regards to the center, which is actually where the economy is being driven, and which is where I think the government needs to focus to achieve those objectives. The subsector in terms of, the small and medium-scale enterprises are very key. And of course, the big players that churn out the big numbers in the manufacturing sector, they require those incentives, whether it is in terms of tax incentives, which government has been very, very doing very well in that regard. But other incentives should come into play. And for this, I asked the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria to continue, pushing for that, to ensure that those incentives that would add value are put on the table, negotiated, engaged, negotiate, and get them done. But when they are gotten, we hope they will be utilized judiciously in the interest of all Nigerians and the public good.
Yes, and SMEs, we know they're very strong contributors, over 40% to GDP. So it's important they also get, that needed attention. Now, speaking of compliance, right, we have the Raw Materials Research and Development Council, we have customs, you have spoken on collaboration. How do you think that they can collaborate to prevent smuggling and also enforce compliance?
If you want to see success, which is the bane of our administrations, not just the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I think we have seen some better coordination if you look at it compared with the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, where you see open fights, almost fisticuffs, between agencies that are supposed to synergize and collaborate. But we need to see more robustness in that. And how you are able to achieve that, Joanna, is at the point of bill formation or policy formulation or strategy conceptualization, you do what is called policy consultation. You heard me talk about that. You get the buy-in of those critical stakeholders. You understand how everybody is moving, and where you need to work together, you work together. Let me make it clear. I'm not saying every time people have to work together, but where we need together, we need to work together. And that goes to the issue of regulation. And regulation is not an issue in Nigeria with regards to the frameworks, with regard to the laws, but enforcement, execution has been the bane of our development. And it behoves on all the regulatory agencies to do that. But I think over and beyond that, it's a function of political will of the focal point leader, whether it is the governor or the president, to ensure that those people that are supposed to do the needful when they are supposed to do that. And when they don't do that, there should be consequences. People will wake up to that effect to do the execution part of it or the enforcement part of it, because that is where we are having a lot of issues. This country is not bereft of sound policies and regulations, but we drop the ball most of the time in terms of regulations, or where in terms of regulation, it is only at the point of regulation enforcement, we realize that it is what you call ambiguous policy. You cannot execute because there's a clash between, very critical stakeholders within the governance framework that should have been addressed at the formulation of policy or at the formulation of bills and legislation to address those gaps and deal with them and coordinate and deliver in a coherent manner moving forward. I hope these nuggets will help government to synchronize and realign and to be able to move better, faster, and more result-oriented.
Indeed, indeed. Consultation and stakeholder buy-ins. Finally, before I let you go, Baba Yusuf, obviously this policy plays a great role in Nigeria's broader industrialization, backward integration. How do you see this being received externally? It's happening within, but these goods that are having value added to them are going outside, and there are other players outside of the country who have played a role in that value addition process. How do you see this being received, and could this bill perhaps even disrupt existing trade relations or expose Nigerian goods to retaliatory measures abroad?
Not at all. There's nothing like retaliatory. The world is moving on, Joanna. It's about value. That's why you call it value addition. If you don't add value, you go to the market. I give you an example. You take your perishables. Kenya, Morocco, South Africa, and other countries, very competitive in that space with regards to fruits, vegetables, and even flowers. And then our players go there either because during production you apply some pesticides that are not allowed, or the value addition is not there, or they degrade due to the break in logistics and supply chain networks, and you go there, you're not competitive, nobody will buy. The market is huge, so it's a function of how you prepare to compete. It's a competition. You know, we have the Africa Free Continental Trade Agreement platform as well for intra-Africa trade. It's about competition, so it is for Nigeria to sit up and prepare to be competitive. So when we go out there, our products are in high demand, and we are able to sell, and we are able to our items, products, and services will be in high demand because our standards are high. I talk about standards, and our value addition is qualitative, and items are delivered in a way and manner that is acceptable globally or continentally. So there is nothing like retaliation here. In fact, if anything, the international community will welcome this development because they know we have some of the best of anything you can talk about. Agri-product, solid minerals, even our crude, you know, is one of the best in the world. But how we add value is what sells it out there. So I think they will welcome it. As someone that has been exporting agri-product to the Middle East for over 12 years, as someone that has been exporting services, I know for sure that the value you add, you go out there, you compete. I can tell you, even our mute and mutant, our fish and stock are very, very qualitative if we are able to take them in a way and manner they are acceptable. So the international community will be very happy to hear that. It's a function of how we get our acts together to deliver, because at the end of the day, it's to our benefit.
Indeed, Baba Yusuf, a strategist, policy advisor, public intellectual, and the Group CEO, Global Investments and Trade Company. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.